Hello everyone, welcome to the Narcissism Decoder. I'm Dr. Anthony Mazzella. On this channel, we go beyond labels and symptoms to explore the inner, often unconscious, emotional world behind narcissistic and related personality patterns. In these short clips from the full podcast, you'll get a clear, compassionate, psychodynamic insight into behavior. Here's a short clip from the podcast that highlights what this looks like in real life. In this video, we're continuing our discussion on secrets. If you didn't get a chance to listen to the prior video, I encourage you to check that out. But in case you missed it, in the prior video, we began to reframe secrecy, not simply as deception, manipulation, or a moral failure, but as something much more psychologically meaningful. We talked about how within narcissistic organization, secrecy exists along a wide spectrum. And this was the most critical piece, in my opinion, from ordinary omissions meant to people please, to how secrets function as a way of managing shame, fear, and vulnerability, and finally, to far more encompassing, identity-splitting secrets that organize your entire life. We spent time with a clinical example, a man carrying a teenage arrest into adulthood, sealing it away in order to protect a fragile, grandiose self, only to have the past return, which typically happens when one is harboring a secret. These things never seem to go away. And this time, and you could imagine how it resurfaces, you could fill in the blank here, but in this example was through a failed background check. And when it came up, it punctured what we call the false self and triggered a profound internal crisis. We left off with me saying that I wanted to dive even deeper into the psychodynamic meaning and consequences of secrets. So let's get right into it. So, what is this more comprehensive view into secrecy and lying? Psychodynamic, and bear with me, I'm going to do a little bit of a theoretical dive here, and then we'll relate it to a lived experience. Psychodynamically, there is a deeper layer. These hidden parts of yourself are disavowed aspects of the self, painful feelings of inadequacy that the ego cannot integrate into that grandiose structure, again, that main structure that holds the narcissist together. It cannot integrate it without fracturing the illusion of perfection, control, or omnipotence. This means secrecy is not just manipulation. It's not just a manipulative play or a power move. It protects not only your reputation and image, but also a fragile psychic equilibrium, and therefore it can become a way of life or a big part of your life. Let me say that in a slightly different way, and then we'll get into that clinical example. Secrets are not just withheld thoughts, feelings, and experiences. They're markers of what cannot be tolerated consciously. Need, weakness, fear, longings, imperfections, and perhaps shame and guilt. And again, on a more serious level, secrets can hide an entirely false life. You can fill in the blank here, but some examples are hidden romantic or sexual behaviors, such as secret affairs or ongoing relationships kept from your partner. Compulsive spending, such as hidden shopping binges or excessive credit card debt, or alcohol, prescription medication, or recreational drug use that's hidden from loved ones, just to name a few. The secret symbolizes the disavowed other side of the self, and keeping it so often comes with a cost: distance, internal pressure, mistrust, and a persistent psychological tension that quietly limits authentic connection. All of this, the disavowed parts of the self, the fragile ego, the psychological tension, isn't just theory. It shows up in real life, in the moments we try to navigate relationships, work, and social expectations while keeping parts of ourselves hidden. You may now be wondering, how does this show up in real life? And again, I want to explain that. It's in real life. It's not just theoretical. So let's get into that next. For many people, the secret doesn't just exist. It feels like a, and I quote, dirty secret, something morally stained, hidden, and corrosive. As we began to explore in an earlier video, I want to continue to discuss it here, that sometimes this dirty secret shows up when, for instance, again, you could fill in the blank, but a past misdeed comes back to life. So in this case, it was a past arrest for a minor misdemeanor. And here's what the secrecy does psychodynamically. It intensifies the internal persecution. That's the internal voice that works you over. Again, I alluded to this in an earlier video. When something is hidden, the mind loses the ability to test reality. The fear judgment remains unchallenged. There's no relational feedback, no soothing, no repair. So an internal persecutor forms, a voice that says, if they knew, they see the real me, the ruined me, the horrible, the bad me. So the secret becomes a kind of private prison, maintained not by external guards, but by the fear of exposure. I once had a patient who literally called it the dirty secret. You could almost feel it as a split off object inside of him, a quarantined, toxic part of the self that had to be sealed away from anyone who might get close to him. And this is where we circle back to our earlier example, the fellow who got arrested. Unspoken, the teenage arrest becomes a split off, bad, right, self-representation. That must be kept away from relationships. So it's an image of oneself as so bad and so flawed, having done something so wrong, it needs to be sealed away. His partner, the fiancé, gets the good self, the competent self, the lovable self. Meanwhile, the bad self lives underground, carrying all the shame. There's still so much more to explore about this topic and related dynamics. If you're finding this discussion helpful and you want to learn more about the various facets of narcissism and related personality organizations, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video clip. If you want to do an even deeper dive, check out my podcast. I go into far more detail there. Okay, until next time, take care of yourself. Bye for now.